The screen door slammed against the cedar frame with such force that the antler wind chimes sang out their protest. Patricia Hawthorne stood in the doorway of my grandfather's cabin, her perfectly manicured finger jabbing the air like a conductor of outrage. Her voice hit a pitch that could shatter glass as she screamed about unauthorized firewood stacking patterns and illegal porch furniture arrangements.
Then she saw him.
Deputy Sheriff Jake Morrison emerged from behind the stone fireplace, all 6'4" of him, his tan uniform crisp. He adjusted his wide-brimmed hat with deliberate slowness, the kind of movement that made time itself pause. Patricia's mouth hung open mid-shriek. The color drained from her face faster than water through a broken dam. Jake took a measured step forward, his voice smooth as aged bourbon, but with an edge that could cut steel. "Patricia, you just committed criminal trespass on a law enforcement officer's property without a warrant, without permission, and apparently without the good sense God gave a turnip." She backed up so fast she tripped over her own designer sandal, leaving it wedged in the door as she sprinted down the gravel path. "I'm Daniel Crawford. When I inherited my grandfather's 1950s hand-built cabin in the Birchwood Falls subdivision, I thought I got paradise. Instead, I inherited a one-woman war against anything that didn't conform to Patricia Hawthorne's vision of suburban perfection. Patricia ruled the Birchwood Falls HOA with an iron fist wrapped in a pastel cardigan. Her first violation notice cited my cabin's natural cedar for non-conforming exterior wood stain. Then came the citation for my flagstone pathway being 2 inches wider than regulation. Strike 3 was the antler wind chimes my grandfather made. Patricia declared them a noise violation and a violation of the Decorative Standards Clause. She actually used the phrase auditory assault in her written complaint. Things escalated when I installed a porch swing made from reclaimed barn wood. She appeared at my door within hours, clipboard in hand, demanding a $150 processing fee for my unauthorized seating installation. The harassment intensified. Anonymous complaints, signed with Patricia's own purple ink initials, flooded the suggestion box about my wood smoke, my pickup truck, and my bird feeders being unauthorized wildlife attractants. Then Jake Morrison, a friend from the National Guard, moved into the spare room. Patricia somehow interpreted a sheriff's deputy moving in as an escalation of my rebellion. She started leaving 2 a.m. voicemails about the dangers of having firearms in a family neighborhood. The morning of the incident, Jake's cruiser pulled away early, just as Patricia had been hoping. What she didn't see was him returning through the back trail minutes later. I was out back splitting wood when I heard the front door crash open. Patricia's voice echoed through the cabin as she narrated her own trespassing like a demented documentary. She shouted about building code violations, threatened to have the structure condemned, and actually used the phrase citizens' inspection rights. The sound of drawers opening and cameras clicking mixed with her continued declarations. I started toward the house, but Jake was already there. I watched through the window as she transitioned from crusading warrior to cornered rabbit. When Jake reached for his radio, Patricia made a sound somewhere between a squeak and a whimper before she fled, leaving her designer sandal behind. An emergency board meeting was convened within 2 hours. Patricia tried to justify her actions with a PowerPoint presentation titled, "When Initiative Meets Necessity." But Robert Kellerman, a retired judge, dismantled her arguments with surgical precision, citing actual law. The vote was unanimous, save for Patricia's own defiantly raised hand. The HOA censure was just the beginning. Because Jake had filed an official report, the district attorney's office got involved. Patricia found herself facing criminal trespassing charges. Her lawyer negotiated it down to a misdemeanor with community service, but the damage was done. The real blow came from her husband, Carl, who finally reached his limit. Turns out having the owner's wife as a convicted criminal was bad for the car business. Carl implemented a financial restructuring, which meant Patricia lost access to her unlimited legal fund and was traded down to a sensible Honda. The state attorney's office also revoked her license to sell homes in the county. Apparently, criminal trespassing convictions don't inspire buyer confidence. The sentence was deliciously ironic. Judge Kellerman, Robert's cousin, sentenced her to 200 hours working with Habitat for Humanity, building homes that would never meet her previous HOA standards. She spent her weekends hauling lumber for houses that featured vinyl siding and chain-link fences. The final indignity came when the judge ordered her to pay my legal fees, which, through a countersuit, totaled $50,000. I donated the entire amount to the local animal shelter in Patricia's name, ensuring she'd receive their fundraising calls for eternity. Patricia's husband filed for divorce 2 months later, citing irreconcilable differences and criminal behavior. She moved to a small apartment complex across town, the kind with no HOA and dandelions growing wild. The new HOA board formally apologized and instituted a grandfather clause protecting my cabin and its antler wind chimes. Last week, the new president presented me with a custom-made wind chime crafted from Patricia's own laminated HOA citations. Patricia Hawthorne now faces 5 years of probation, $50,000 in legal settlements, and a lifetime ban from serving on any homeowner association board in the state. Her face when the judge read that last part was a mixture of disbelief and devastation, as if he'd